Hi, in today's video I'm going to be covering how we can create keyboard shortcuts to fast forward and rewind with various video players like MPV or VLC. And now in a previous video I showed you how we could use this sxhkd keyboard daemon to intercept certain keyboard shortcuts, and then we were using it with a program called playerctl, which will use which can send commands over dbus to video players that are currently active and playing, to pause them, go to the next item in the playlist. And this program here also works with MPV, and I made a video about how we can install a program called mpv-mpris, and that basically allows us to use the playerctl program to control MPV without it having focus. So what I'm going to do is switch across to the config file for the keyboard daemon, which is called sxhkd, and the config file is called sxhkd-rc. Now what I'm just going to do quickly is come across to the mpv directory, and in config mpv you can have a file called input.config where you can create keyboard shortcuts for various actions in MPV, like seeking. So for example here I've got the Vim keys set to fast forward and rewind, so L will go forward, seek ahead 5 seconds, H goes back 5 seconds, K goes forward 60 seconds, and J goes back 60 seconds. So it just means that I can use the Vim key bindings to easily navigate through the video. But the issue is that those key bindings only work if the MPV has got focus. So what I'll do is just switch across here and show you what I mean. Hi. If I let me open a let me just go back to that. Why has it done that? Let me just quit that and try that again. So what I wanted to do was create a new window here. So when the video's got focus, I can, press the keyboard shortcuts to go through, scrub through the video. But if obviously if I'm on another window and I just type, sxhkd, obviously it's going to output the characters here, and I'm not going to be able to control this. So what we want to be able to do is actually control MPV even though it doesn't have focus. And we're going to do that with keyboard shortcuts. So what I wanted to do was keep the HJKL keyboard shortcuts, but use them with a modifier. In this case, I'm going to be using Alt and Super. So you can see here what we've got is Alt and Super, and then in sort of curly brackets, HJKL. And below that, we've got the command that's going to be run. So this is going to run playerctl position, and in here we've got 4 items separated by commas. So we've got 0.5 minus, then we've got 10 minus, and then 10 plus, and 0.5 plus. And these basically correspond to these keys up here. So H is going to be 0.5 minus, J is going to be 10 minus, K is going to be 10 plus, and L is going to be 0.5 plus. And basically what this does is when you hold down Alt and Super and press HJKL, it's going to scrub through the video. So what I'll do is demo that now. So what I need to do is open another window here. Okay, so I'm going to pause that, move it across here, and I'm going to keep focus here. So the keyboard shortcuts I've created are sxhkd with alt and super to fast forward and rewind. Then we've got alt, super, and space to play and pause, and alt, super, and n to stop, and alt, super, and 0 to go to the beginning of the video. So I'll just go through and demo those now. So that's the window focus. I'm now focused on the terminal here, and I can, in today's video, and pause the video by toggling alt, super, and space. Look at, I can then press alt, super, and space. Let me, I've got screen key installed actually. Working. Controlling MPV using the media key. So now I can press and zoom through. So I'm pressing J and K, and you can see that's not going up by 60 seconds. It's sort of going in intervals of 15, I think. So this is H, L, J, and K, and I can press Alt, super, and 0, and it will go back to the beginning of the video, and you can see all the time that that window is not focused, that I'm focused in the terminal. So the important thing is to select modifiers that aren't going to interfere with your window manager or desktop. So that's using MPV. Let me just go through application like firefox, the player do with do. You have to rename this, stop that. So that's how we can use the keyboard shortcuts with quick screen key now, MPV, and that's how we created it. We can create something in brackets that covers multiple keys and then binds that to a sort of comma separated list of commands we want to run. So instead of creating a config for H and then J and K and L, 4 configs, we can just have one here, and that will basically alter the position of the playhead depending on which key you press. And then we've got alt, super, and space to run playerctl play pause, so that's going to toggle play and pause. And then we've got alt, super, and n, and the reason for that is because you can just take your finger off the H key and move it down to N to stop. So that's convenient. And then we've got Alt, Super, and 0, which basically sets the position of the playhead to the start of the video. And the position is actually measured in seconds completely. So you can't type for example, you can run that command in command line, but you can't type player position 5 minutes. It's all done in seconds, so you'd have to go 60 and 60 and 60 and 60 and go, okay, that's player position 300 for 5 minutes. So it's not quite practical for some stuff, but it's useful for going to the beginning of a video. So those are the fast forward and rewind commands. Of course, you can use your own modifiers here. What I'm going to do is just come across and open up YouTube. Okay, and let's just go. Let's just pick a video. Okay. So, unfortunately, the position command doesn't work with Firefox and Chromium. So you can't fast forward and rewind through videos that are running in YouTube or other players. So you can toggle play and pause.
All right, this one's gonna.
That works. stop doesn't actually do anything, because it really depends on the player. For example, if you're on channel 4 and you press stop, it will actually stop the player. But on YouTube, it doesn't, close the player. It always remains open, so you can just play and pause. But the position command doesn't actually work with videos running in Firefox, YouTube or stuff. So if I open a you can see if I run playerctl -l, it's going to list Firefox, and I can run play.
Gemini protocol. This one came out like a year or two ago, I believe.
Pause. But if I try and use set a position for the playhead to, which was the command we were using to fast forward and rewind, it's not going to work. Position 0. It doesn't do anything. It's still stuck on 7 seconds. So the other thing should show you, after showing that the position doesn't work in here, is how the position option works with MPV. So what I'm going to just do is come across here and open this. So let me just set it here so you can see the actual time. Scrub through a bit. So you run playerctl position 0, it will go to we'll set the video to the beginning here. You can also use a modifier of plus or minus, but depending on if you put it before or after the number, it has a different effect. So if I say type, let me just move this forward a bit from the start of the video. So if I run, say, +10, what it will do is, you can see here it's gone to 10 seconds after the start of the video. So if you put the modifier before the number, it will basically move from the start of the track. So if I change that and do 10 plus, and I'm now at 10 seconds, you'll see, even though I've added 10, it's gone to 25. And that's because I found that it's not entirely accurate at seeking. So that's two things: the modifier before or after the number changes how it behaves, and also the seeking, as I said, isn't completely sort of accurate to the second. So again, if I do say +30, you see here it's moved to 30 seconds after the start of the video. But if I do 30 plus, it will advance 30 seconds on from the position of the playhead at the moment. So you can see here it just moves over to 106. And again, the position isn't bang on like it is with MPV. So I can also run -30, and you see it go back 30. So that's how we're using the position command, and depending where you put the sort of plus or minus, it has a different effect. So if you put it before the number, it's going to basically move that amount of seconds after the start of the video. If you put it after the number, it's going to move 30 seconds ahead from the current playhead position. So that's how the position works, and that's how you can basically create key maps to sort of advance, through the video. And of course, you could use, as I said, I was going to say you could use MPV commands, but I don't think you can. I don't think you can have keyboard shortcuts for MPV, because it doesn't have a sort of like an interface to do that. So you can only use keyboard shortcuts when MPV's got focus. Whereas running this using the playerctl thing basically means you can, create fast forward, rewind, play, pause, stop, and go to the beginning of the video. So, as I said, it's more convenient. Let me just open this one more time. So, as I said, normally, you see here, we've got the blue outline. This window's got focus, so I could use the normal keyboard shortcuts. But if I were to obviously use sxhkd, normally it's just going to type out those commands. So by pressing Alt and Super, I can say pause, fast forward, go to the beginning of the video again, and quit it. So it's just makes it easy to be able to use MPV without having to move your cursor across to the video that's actually playing. And again, the setup was we set up sxhkd and keyboard daemon. We set up playerctl, and for MPV we had to set up mpv-mpris, and I covered all those in previous videos. Once you've got all that set up, you can basically create keyboard shortcuts. And again, the only ones that actually work in YouTube are play, pause, tube. So I can press Alt Super space, play and pause, but unfortunately the position command doesn't work, so I can't fast forward through the video.
Favorite Linux distribution.
So I've got the video there. Obviously you could use the arrow keys, so maybe, I don't know if there's a way around it to get fast forward and rewind working. Okay, that's the volume. So you've only got fast forward and rewind by 5 seconds with YouTube, and that's typically using the arrow keys on the keyboard. I don't know if there's a way to get that working with YouTube, but you can obviously always open these with MPV. And that's how you can set up keyboard shortcuts for fast forward and rewind. And let me just check to see if this actually works with VLC as well. So let's open. Hi, in today's video, so I can play and pause. Look at CS works. Is actually install CSV. Yeah. Fast forward and rewind is working. Yes. File and stop. Yeah, so that works with MPV and VLC. But as I said, the position command doesn't seem to work with videos playing in Firefox and Chrome. So that's how you can set up the keyboard shortcuts using the playerctl command with the sxhkd keyboard daemon and mpv-mpris plugin.